Hello there folks, Bonkekook here, aka your Lonely Achievement God, continuing our Lawn Mowing Simulator challenge coverage, which with Expert Challenge number 6, the lower Bandstand Garden at Westwall Castle. This, before the string trimmer update, was the most difficult challenge, by far, because there are so many things on this lawn that you have to avoid colliding with. If you collide with the bandstand or the walls or the statues or even the picnic tables, you instantly would fail. So this challenge was made significantly easier by the string trimmer update. In fact, I'm surprised they allow you to use the string trimmer on this, because the string trimmer, although it will make this challenge last probably 40 to 50 minutes, it makes this challenge a cakewalk. Like, probably easier than some of the amateur challenges now. No lie. I did not have one single scare in my initial recording. I am having to re-record these because the recording software was dropping frames like crazy, so I've made some adjustments. We're going to re-record most of these. Of course, you didn't see the original footage, so but I didn't want it to look that terrible. It was pretty bad in most of the videos, so I've had to go back and re-record them. This is the fuel challenge. The fuel challenges aren't scary at all. If you are following an optimal path for cutting, i.e., driving around the outside and then making laps inside over and over again until you get to the center of the lawn and then moving on to the next section, you will not run out of fuel no matter what. And it's made even easier by the string trimmers, weed eaters I call them. That's probably going to slip out once in a while, because the things that you couldn't collide with before can be cut and edged with the string trimmers without worry. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to jump in and get this started. There is probably going to be a significant portion of this where I stop talking, so you can thank whatever deity you believe in for that. But let's go ahead, get started. We'll grab our string trimmer, and we're going to edge almost everything we can, just to be safe. The collision damage is very high. You have very little wiggle room. So we are going to be spending probably 15 to 20 minutes just edging around the dangerous things and doing a lot of it. Now, I may be a little more cautious than you would like to be, and that's personal preference. If you want to get a little bit closer, you can, but the mower we are driving is not very good at handling. It has a weird control scheme, and so you want to be as, as forgiving as you can with how much you use the string trimmer, the weed eater, because you don't have a lot of, well, you really have no forgiveness. You have a couple of, you could run into a flower or two and damage it and still be fine. But as far as running into the bandstand, if you hit the bandstand once with your mower, you're done. I'm not sure if the wall is an instant failure, but you don't have a lot of collision penalty fines either. So you want to try to do what I'm doing here. And I've kind of gotten into the habit of doing these quick little circles, and it tends to get everything along the path, or 99% of it. Whatever way you want to do this is up to you. I started over on this corner, but it's actually not a bad idea to start at the sections with flowers, too. That way, if you do cut a couple of flowers, you can just restart right away. You don't technically have to be cautious up against the hedges, I don't think, but for safety's sake, we're going to be anyways. And you do have the Pro View, so you can push the right stick in, or whatever button that is assigned to. I know they're supposed to be launching an accessibility update that might allow you to change some of the buttons, but I don't know. That was on Steam. I don't know how customizable things will be on console. So once we get up through that hedge, I'm going to start working on this. And just like I said before, we're going to focus on doing a couple of runs around just so we have wiggle room. So what I try to do is line up the left side of kind of the circle that my trimmer blade, or whatever it is, I've always seen them use like plastic wires, but they're making a circle there. We're going to try to get the left side of that lined up with where the dirt and the grass meet, and then just kind of use your eye to watch for if there's more grass. There's a little bit that grows further in. And now we're at the statue. And just like I was saying before, do whatever you can to make sure you don't have to go anywhere near that statue. The statues, if you hit them, the bandstand, if you hit them, they are an instant fail. Like the picnic tables and the walls, you might be able to hit them once or twice before you fail, but you do not want to go anywhere near the statues and the bandstand. So use the weed eater. Sorry, like I said, it's going to come out a couple of times. Liberally around the statues and bandstand. Give yourself a wide berth. Because, as I said, the mower can be difficult to control. I've done this challenge so many times and used that mower so many times that I have a pretty good feel for how it's going to handle. But if it's your first time doing this challenge and you're trying to get it done on your first try, you may not get a good feel for how the mower turns, and you want to make sure you give yourself a wide berth around the things that will cause an instant fail, like the bandstand and statues for sure. And we're going to do it with everything else too. We're not going to leave anything to chance. We're going to do 2 runs around this flower garden with the weed eater. And this is why we spend so much time doing the string trimmer, weed eater stuff on this level. As far as I'm aware, this is a battery weed eater. I'm not sure. There's 2 of them that are battery and 1 is gas. But we seem to have an infinite amount of either of them. In reality, you might be able to just never use the mower and use the string trimmer, and that would make the fuel challenge very easy. But our primary concern on this isn't our level of fuel as much as it is making sure that we don't collide with anything. Flowers, statues, bandstand, picnic table, excuse me. This section right here, that little hill we just went over, can be a little bit of a pain to control, so I do a little extra there just to give ourselves a wider berth. And then we'll work on edging. And that's what you're going to do. Go around the trees. I'm probably going to shut up here a little bit. You don't really have a time limit, so you can take your time doing all this. Just make sure you give yourself a wide berth away from all of the hedges and trees and everything. It's not a bad idea even to use your weed eater in this little section here exclusively and never bring your mower because of the statue in the middle. It will take you a little bit longer, but again, you don't want to risk running into the statues. One collision with the statue will end your run. For the most part. I think there's a chance you might be able to hit it twice, but you don't really want to take that chance. So it's up to you. If you want to, you can just edge around the statue and then you know, back up and use the Pro View, make sure you gave yourself a wide berth, or you can do what I'm doing here and cut all of the grass over here with the string trimmer. That's your call. I'd rather be safe than sorry. I have quite a bit of patience if I know that my strategy is going to work out, so I have no problem with doing this. But if you want to, my friend and I are complete opposites, and he'd probably say, screw this strategy, I'm going to go full bore. And hey, if that's the way you want to handle it, go for it. I'm just here to give you some tips. So once you got everything kind of cleared up there, you can move up on this side now. You don't have to worry too much about the hedges. I'm pretty sure that if you hit them, they don't count as a collision. But make sure you get back here. There is a tree in the bushes. And make sure you're getting the trees along the path here. We got that one. And I think there's 2 more. And again, we're just going to do our best to give ourselves as much wiggle room away from the collidable objects as possible. So, there we go. We'll work on the flower bed over here next. Go slow, too. I know I've said that once already, but you don't have a time limit. For fuel challenges, your only limit is how much fuel you have in the mower. So, with the string trimmer, you can, as far as I know, you have an unlimited battery. I don't know that for certain. I've never tested it, but... And again, don't be afraid to go slow and use the Pro View. It's very dark over here for some reason. So, go slow, use the Pro View, and if you're going slow, you can kind of push the plants out or flowers out of the way to make sure you won't damage them. And then we're going to do the same thing we did before where we make another lap around. But you can do the second lap a little bit quicker. Just make sure you're not overloading your weed eater, which is something you can do. Because you'll leave grass behind that you'll have to worry about later. So, okay. With that done, we're going to move on over to here where this hedge was. We're actually going to do most of this section with the weed eater as well, because it's a tight section with the picnic table or benches over here. The park benches, I guess. I don't know if they're picnic benches, park benches. And this is, I'm going overboard here. Let's just be clear. I'm being a little more cautious than you need to, but I don't want to run into a park bench and, you know, ruin my run. So, you don't have to be this cautious if you don't want to. You can come in here with the mower, and you should be fine. I mean, when this challenge initially came out, we had to drive the mower in here. So it certainly is possible, but I just am being overly cautious because I remember my frustration with this challenge when I would accidentally tap the accelerator too much and run into one of the benches or the bandstand, and 25 minutes of my life was an utter loss. So, your call. I'm not... If you think you can handle making those types of turns without worrying about running into things, feel free to take things a little bit faster than I am here and come back with the mower. The other thing to remember is that our completion percentage is only 99.5, so you can afford to leave grass behind. You do not have to cut every shred of grass. Okay. Just give it a good look. We still left a couple of shreds lying around, but as I said, we have a 99.5% requirement instead of 99.9, so you don't have to be super fine. And we're just going to do the same thing over here, make sure we get all of this cut and away from the hedge so that we don't run into it. There's nothing in the middle here where the giant tree is, so. And now we have the hedge leading into the back wall behind the bandstand, which is also an annoying portion of things. And at this point, if you want to, you kind of got an idea of what you're going to do. You can move on ahead if you're so inclined to when we start mowing. I will recommend you watch the bandstand, but we're going to be doing the same exact thing we did with the flower beds, where we're giving ourselves, 2 weed eaters worth of distance at least away from the bandstand. The bandstand is a guaranteed fail if you hit it. I know that because despite my best efforts, I still ran into the bandstand on my first attempt and failed. And that's why I do 2 passes with the string trimmer instead of 1, because even with 1 pass, it was close enough that I wound up hitting the bandstand and failing. So, and if you you can go straight and cut too if the circles are too much for you or you're not comfortable doing them. You can just do go straight across. Again, you don't have a time limit, so it comes down to personal preference. Once we get in here, make sure you're using the Pro View. It's just so dark that you need to be sure that where you got the grass that's inside of under the bush or tree here. And this section can be difficult to get into with the mower, so I recommend making a couple of passes just like we were up against the wall. That should be good there, so we'll make a couple of passes here. And again, the weed eater does not damage anything, so go nuts with it. You can put it right up against the statues and everything and you don't damage anything, which is not really how it works in real life, but I'll take it in the video game. Hopefully they don't add that in, because a couple of these challenges would be far more devastating now with the string trimmers if they took away the ease of use. And just like before, I'm running the weed eater back here because it can be difficult to get back behind there with the mower. That section I'm not sure was there in the original version. I could be wrong. It's been a long time since I played the original. And we're gonna go ahead and get everything in between the picnic tables here so that we don't have to try to fit our mower in, because that can be painful as well. With that done, we're going to go and get the bandstand. And again, bandstand, get as far away from the bandstand as you can. Any nick to the bandstand will fail you. So I highly recommend taking, 3 or 4 lengths of the trimmer off. So you have no doubt when you come over here that you will avoid running into this. Again, you can call me overly cautious, but I failed so many times on the initial version of this challenge from running into the bandstand and the statues, and I would much rather take an extra 10 to 15 minutes of trimming with the string trimmer than fail my run and have to do all of it again. So just like before, go kind of slow. When you're cutting this much grass at a time, you don't want to overload the weed eater. Although, again, you do have a little bit of wiggle room with that 99.5% instead of needing 99.9%. So you can afford to leave little bits and pieces of grass around, and it will not hurt you in the long run. And even if it does, you can just get the mower or weed eater back out and come back over to clean up at the end. So really, it's kind of surprising they put the string trimmers in with no add-ons, because for some of these challenges, it really did make them almost no stress challenges. Almost made our way all the way around. And again, I'm sorry, I'm being overly cautious, but hey, I make my guides the way they are comfortable for me, and hopefully it works for you, because I know the frustration of failing the challenges. So again, you may have left some pieces along the way. Don't worry about it. You have extra percents that you can afford to have missed, excuse me. And we're going to do kind of the same thing we did, although the picnic tables over here don't have grass quite as close to them as the other ones. So we're just going to get... this section back here is easy to get the mower into, so we're not going to be quite as strict with our cutting as we were with the other picnic tables. Except for back here, because getting the mower in back here is a pain. So go nuts back here. In fact, I recommend cutting all of the grass about to where the picnic tables meet here. Because getting the mower back into here is nigh impossible without running into something. I know I said I would stop talking, but more so once we get to the mowing. The mowing is very straightforward. Once again, we'll clean in between the park or the picnic tables so that you don't have to try to squeeze your mower in there. And then cut out a little bit so you don't have to worry about running into the park benches, picnic tables. I keep getting those two confused, and I'm sorry for that. And with that all cut, you are good to head back. You can run in here and do a little bit more there if you want to. But with that done, that's everything edged that you need to edge. You can run back to your mower. And I know, that's probably 20 minutes worth of just using the string trimmer. It's annoying. But I prefer first-person mode. That's entirely up to you. But remember, this mower is somewhat of a pain to cut with. So don't be afraid to use the weed eater and leave the the bulk of the middle of the cutting to the mower, but use the string trimmer up against obstacles. So we need to get it to 5 centimeters, and then we'll engage the blades and you'll drive around. Now, you're going to want to tap the accelerator a lot and get used to how this mower turns. The mower turns very weirdly. We've only used this mower, if you haven't purchased it in the career mode, I think you only use this on 1 or 2 other challenges throughout the challenge mode. So you don't have a lot of time to get used to it. And one of the challenges is the very first one, which is quite easy. So you don't have any real stress with this mower. So again, you have plenty of fuel. The game always gives you enough fuel to do these challenges. So you don't really have to worry about the fuel as long as you're following the optimal path for mowing, which is what I'm doing here, starting at the outside, working your way in toward the middle of whatever area you're working on. And we're just going to do this throughout. For the rest of the level, there's not really a whole lot I can or need to say for the rest of the way. So I think I'm going to shut up here for a bit. Now we're going to do this lawn over here next. Because of how fine you have to be up against the walls, and there's the statue in this area, it's best to get the stuff that you might collide with done first. So we'll do this, and then we'll do the bandstand, and then we'll focus on that flower garden area. If you didn't edge the statue, which is over ahead of us over there, that would be a lawn you would want to do right now as well, to get it out of the way and done with. Now I'm going to turn around here because I actually prefer cutting with the left side of my mower and edging stuff with the left side. So we're going to take this opportunity to get along the portion that we used the trimmer on and widen that a bit just so we don't have to worry about getting too close anymore. And that's why I turned around, because I'm more comfortable doing that with the left side of my mower than I am with the right. If you have a preference, feel free to do that however you'd like. You do have to be cautious about overloading your mower. You don't have... all of these expert challenges have very limited forgiveness for engine conditions. So once you see you are overloading your engine, immediately stop pressing the accelerator. If we had a time challenge, I would tell you to kind of just tap the accelerator. But in this case, we just have a fuel limit, so there's no real reason to, hurry. You don't need to rush to try to get the lawn cut. You're going to have enough fuel to do it, so it's best to be safe and just take your finger off the trigger entirely. Because it would suck quite a bit to be at like 98% and then fail because your engine overloaded too much. A scenario I've also been in before. So, again, for these challenges, caution is usually the better way to go, but I'm sure some of you who are watching this are more like my friend, where caution is a dirty word. So feel free to use my tips and adapt them to whatever strategy you prefer to use. That's what the video is here for. The terrain here is a little bumpy, so do be careful. I know I mentioned that with when we were weed eating, that it can be a little rough when you start mowing over here, so. But I think I'm gonna turn off the mic for now. There's not really much else for me to say at this point. Just keep driving around, being cautious, and you can tell what path I take from watching the rest of the video, and I'll pop in at the end. Okay, hopefully my mic is back. We are just about done here with our last couple of percent. As always, if you have any questions for me, you can reach out to me in a comment here or on Twitter, and I will always do my best to answer your questions. But if not, there is another expert challenge completed. I do apologize because I did things a little bit safer than you probably need to, but as someone who struggled with that challenge before, I did not want to run into any collision issues. So if you want to do it a little bit faster, feel free to attempt it, but I can promise you that if you follow along with me, you'll have a relatively stress-free completion. With that said, I'm going to drive up, ram into the back of the trailer, and we will finish the challenge off here. And I will see you guys next time.